Hello everyone, welcome to Katharine's Q&A, episode 6. This is a series where you can ask an author pretty much anything. So today my first question I have is, what is the most surprising thing you learned when creating your books? Well, I guess the most surprising thing for me is the fact that, or the discovery that, there is so much research that goes into writing fantasy. Initially, I don't know what I thought. I guess initially I assumed that because I'm writing fantasy, made up worlds, characters, all sorts of creatures, beings, beasts, that, I could pluck it right out of my imagination and there you go. Well, in writing, especially more and more of recent, I've realized that that is not actually the case. There is a tremendous amount of research that goes into any sort of fantasy. For instance, I've been completing a short story I have called Acadiana, and it's based in the Louisiana Bayou. So for this piece, I actually had to take several hours and do all sorts of odd little background research, including what is the local flora and fauna of the bayou. I mean, living in New Orleans for the past 8 years, I knew a little bit about it, but I wanted to make sure everything was exactly correct. How did the animals act in certain times of day? When my character is in the bayou, she's using a kayak. What kind of kayak would probably be the best choice? She's a photographer, and I had to go look back into what kind of cameras people use for shoots nowadays. And so, yeah, even just a short story, I spent several hours worth of research. Going to my larger works, I base a lot on old myth. Lots of mythology. I have shelves dedicated to encyclopedias on creatures, beast beings of all different kind of cultures and genres, and source material of old mythology that I readily reference. For instance, my young adult series, The Jet Chronicles, I was doing a lot of research on a creature called the Naga, or for the females, Nagini, and they are part serpent, part man entities, but they are utilized in multiple countries, and each country has a slightly different description for them. They have a different maybe personality, different subterms. So there was a lot of research going and kind of filtering through even the variations of Naga. My adult novella series, The Guardian Speaker, because it is extremely heavily based in Norse mythology. I have spent probably hundreds of hours, if not even over 1,000 hours worth of research, reading as many of the Icelandic sagas I can get, other source materials, the Prose Edda, Poetic Edda, Nibelungenlied, if I'm pronouncing that right, but did a lot of mythology and mythos research, as well as researching the people of the Viking era, of the Nordic peoples, and how they lived. And so my bookshelf also includes a number of volumes of just actual history. I've read many articles, try to keep up to date with any archaeological research and discoveries made of people during the Viking era, as well as watching as many documentaries as I can. But that goes back to, I've been spending hundreds of hours, if not even more, just doing research for a fantasy series. So that was mind-boggling to me. So I will have to go with that. Let's see, I have time for one other. It says, as a child, what did I want to do when I grew up? I'm a person that I think I always kind of knew my passions pretty early on. I've always developed characters and backstory and plots, so there wasn't really any question if I was going to be a writer. It was to what extent did I want to focus my energies on that. Same thing with my art. I was just innately drawn to painting and drawing and 2D arts from the get-go. So for a while, never even conceived that, I could actually be an artist, but that was something I always knew I was going to do no matter what. So why not pursue something that you're going to do anyways, especially if you enjoy it. Now, on the flip side, when I was really, really young, I guess I dreamed of running and managing in developing my own animal sanctuary. I love all animals. I had like this wild dream, it was, I guess more like a zoo, where I would have exotics in one wing and, animal rescue with local wildlife in another, an adoption area for dogs and cats, a place to take in retired rural animals, so the horses and pig and equine and all that kind of stuff. So that was my dream. Now, I've gotten a little older to realize I really don't want to do all that paperwork and the back managing, and that's a lot of effort trying to run an animal sanctuary. Kudos to all people who do that, or zoos. But thankfully, I guess, because I've never been afraid of telling people my passions and interest and accepting odd opportunities, I've been able to achieve some of those goals in different routes. I interned at a zoo for a little while, so I got to work with some exotic wildlife that way. I got a license as a wildlife rehabilitator for the state of Georgia for a number of years, so I got to do local wildlife for a while. Getting my degree in animal behavior, I, through that kind of worked with dog training for a little bit, so, more the domestic pet kind of creatures, and it's just been a lot of fun to, check off that goal in different ways, even though the approach may not have been managing my own animal sanctuary. I've been able to do and experience a lot of what goes into those sort of things through different routes. But yes, that would be probably one of the other things when I was little that I had big aspirations for. Well, that is it for today. Again, I've run long, I apologize. If you have a question for me, post it down in the comments. Or you can message me on my socials. That information will also be down below in the comment, or down below the video. And until next time, skål.